Welcome back to Project Ascend. I'm Andy Pemberton, and this is the final segment of my interview with journalist Neal Rogers. Today we tackle sobriety, vulnerability, and what it means to climb the inner mountain as I prepare to summit Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world.
Okay, so earlier we talked about Project Ascend, but I know Second Ascent is something that means a lot to you. Yeah. Can you explain what it means, explain the difference, and how they tie together?
Project Ascend is the platform to build awareness and fundraise for NEVIS. What's evolved from there as I've started to really think about what I'm undertaking, which is significant. There's this concept of the Second Ascent. This is where I get uncomfortable. I am 5 years sober, which is not something I'm hyper public about. So the idea of Second Ascent is, hey, I've had success, I've lived hard, but I've also struggled. And the idea is, do I decide on a life of decline or ascent? And the Second Ascent is this in action of service, it's purpose, it's discovery, it's curiosity, it's really finding a higher ground. And I think about my legacy, right? I'm 57, and what do my kids see? I've gone through this journey of who am I modeling for? What does that look like? And so I'm really leaning into the idea of this is more than the mountain Everest. It's the mountain inside that I'm trying to navigate. I don't even know where the summit is, frankly, but I am exploring what that looks like, how that, I don't know, what tools do I need to climb that inner mountain, and what that means to others. I want to be, one of the reasons I'm sharing this is, again, someone else's Everest is whatever challenge, and I know at our age, empty nest. I mean, you have a young daughter. My kids are out of school. What does my life look like, and how can I be impactful, right? Service. Maybe it's this message, and maybe it's following along and seeing where I trip up and what lessons I learn. I'm not looking to be an influencer or follow my epic journey up Everest. There's something more there, I guess.
Well, this is my story and your story, and this may resonate with some folks. I mean, I'll tell you, when you and I met and you shared your idea with me, that's what really got me excited to be involved, because there is a very personal aspect to this, to you, and I think everybody has some kind of struggle, and the example, there is an inspirational side to it. Whether you're trying to be inspirational, I think it's just a way of communicating to people, this is what I've been through, and this is how I'm working through it, and this is what I'm striving towards.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable telling you what to do, Neal, right? But I am comfortable in doing something I believe in, and if you lean into that and want to know more or how it affected me, there's a connection there, and that's what I've learned to be most effective. And so this isn't a self-help, like I'm going to give you the recipe. I don't know it yet, frankly, and so that's part of the drama here is, what's going to happen? How's this going to go down physically? How high does he get? And emotionally, what comes out the other end? And I've been asked, what happens when you get back? And I see a therapist. I grapple with this stuff and try to figure out how is this going to impact me? What is next? When you climb, whether I'm successful or not, Mount Everest, and you come home, what does that look like? And that scares me, but I don't know, there's some other, what we're talking about right now helps give me comfort and freedom to be like, it doesn't matter. If you're on solid ground and you're exploring these things and you're curious, maybe it's the farm you're building up, maybe it's breeding Highland cattle. I don't know, there's something there.
There are a lot of unknowns, physical unknowns, there's external unknowns, weather, and there's internal unknowns, emotional. But you're at a good place for it. You're grounded, and I think that's what's so significant about Second Ascent.
Yeah, I'm hyper aware. I'm also very, I mean, this is, to me, this is the definition of vulnerability. And I've learned through, I don't know, my recent experience, that's a superpower. If it's, you know, if you can get your head around it. And yeah, it's an adventure, and you don't know the outcome. I don't know. When I first went to Kathmandu, I like to travel without really seeing the full, like, you know, city maps and like all the details. I want to let it come to me, and I thought it was a village, and that's some pretty bad ignorance, right? Far more than a village, but I was just blown away. Maybe that's why it touched me so much. We find what we seek, right? Yet sometimes it finds you. And so I think here is a case where, you know, there's some things that are pulling me, and I'm open. I'm open to see where it goes.
Oh, I know what we haven't discussed: the date.
Yeah.
When is this ascent?
So April 8th.
2026.
2026. Yep. I arrive in Kathmandu with my family. We trek the Khumbu Valley to Everest Base Camp, and then we are basically doing that acclimatization schedule and preparations, and the summit window is late May. And so I'll be dispatching from now through then in country from base camp. And I did some of this in Ahmed Ablam, and people were pretty fired up. I had a cell signal at Camp 1 climbing and was able to post some pretty magnificent.
I remember, I followed along.
Yeah, it was cool. I was
that.
surprised, and so I want to continue that. You know, my story will be unique, and it's for a great cause. And so we'll see what we can do from up the hill. And I don't know. It's like you said, it's an adventure.
Well, you know, for those who are following along, following on social, maybe we could do another video sometime, and anyone that wants to write in, ask some questions, and we could field some of those questions and go into further detail in any number of directions. Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this, and I'm eager to explore it. Appreciate you, Neal, and what you've done. And yeah, let's revisit this. I'll be doing some interesting training and climbing, winter ascents here in Colorado, and ice climbing in Bozeman next month. So, knee permitting, obviously, doctors somewhat approval, and we'll check back in. Thanks for tuning in.